Have you ever wanted to hear the lines of The Lion King told through the emotional expression of Bella Swan? Yeah, me neither. Alright, flying solo tonight, guys, mostly just because everyone was busy and I just need to get this done because I didn't have to worry about it over the weekend. So yeah, I had to solo the new Lion King, and yeah, if you've seen any of my other opinions about any of the other remakes, you probably know I thought this sucked balls. These just get more disappointing with every new iteration. Like, I still wouldn't say this is the worst one. Like, that one still goes to Beauty and the Beast for me. But man, they keep finding new lows. Cause like, okay, let's be fair. Let's talk about like there are some good things about this movie. So like, I will go with this first. Like, regardless what you think about like the choice to make it hyper realistic, which I don't agree with. What's I'm looking for? The technology used to build up the environments and the animals and stuff looks amazing. Like, that is undeniable. Regardless of your thoughts on the movie, the way it looks and the way all the hyper-realistic nature of all of it does look fantastic. Like, that is undeniable. It does look real. It definitely falls in uncanny valley territory. So while it's not technically live action, you can see why they still try to get away with using that term. It's like, okay, that stuff looks really good. Does it fit the tone, theme, and energy of Lion King? Not even a little, but it looks great. And I will say, I liked Scar in this. I actually thought, I'm gonna look up the actor's name, because he was the one who played, what's his name in fucking, oh god, I'm drawing a blank. I'm gonna butcher the hell out of his name. The guy from 12 Years a Slave, and, who was he in Doctor Strange? Mordo! That's what I'm thinking of. Mordo from Doctor Strange. Chiwetel Ejiofor? I know I'm butchering that. I'm just not, okay. Mordo. We're gonna call him Mordo. Mordo plays Scar in this, and you know what? Like, it still doesn't hold a candle to Jeremy Irons, but for what it is, it's one of the more entertaining performances in the movie. Like, it kind of has, like, just a subtle contempt that he carries through the entire movie, and it kind of works with the animation they have. So of all the voices they put on these non-expression faces, his kind of works the best. It kind of favors his character, so that kind of works in his favor. John Oliver is fun as Zazu. He's practically born to play that kind of character, and the few parts I actually chuckled were when they kind of let him riff a little bit. Timon and Pumbaa are okay at first. Like, they're actually fairly decent replacements at first, and then they kind of wear out their welcome pretty fast because they gave them just a little too much leeway in terms of what they were able to improvise, and they didn't know when to say cut. It's kind of one of those performances. It's obnoxious, but it's not so much so that you just want to die. That comes later. Oh god, is there anything else I like about this movie? Yeah, that's really it. That's really, like, I feel bad every time I talk about these Disney live action remakes, because I was like, well, I'll start with the positive. I can think of, like, at most 4, and that's like all I have before I have to just shit all over this fucking movie. And yeah, so I think pretty much, I'm sure you figured out by now, it's everyone's complaining about this movie. The fact that it's hyper-realistic totally goes against the spirit of the film. It goes against the purpose of animation. It does not match the dialogue, the music, the vibes, the energy. It does not match any of it. This was not a movie that was meant to be hyper-realistic because it's meant to have emotion. It's meant to have expression. And the problem is when you hyper-animate a lion, it just looks like a fucking lion no matter what it says or does. You cannot animate complex emotions on a realistic fucking lion. You can in a cartoon version because you can be more expressive. You can exaggerate. You can have, like, scenes that are carried through body language and eye movements, and then you look at this and there's just none of that is there. And that's really the movie's biggest problem. It's the fact that even though it's still basically shot for shot and word for word the original Lion King, there is such an emotional disconnect because there is no like the characters have so little expressions that there's no way to connect to any of them. You don't feel connected to any of them. None of, like, you watch a scene where like when, like, look, here's God's one. When Mufasa dies in the original one, it's heartbreaking because Simba's, he got tears in his eyes. He looks really sad. He's calling up and he's like just trying to keep himself together, and he's in denial about the fact his father died. In this one, it might as well have been a Muppet that expresses no, because again, I think so many, and like this from all these live action goddamn remakes, is so many of them underestimate how powerful and how much emotions are expressed through the eyes. Wall-E got that, oddly enough. The movie about robots got more interested more, like, because like again, that's I'm sorry, I'm tired, I'm rambling, and I just want to go home. But I'm like so much of emotion and so much of connection is built through what you see in people's eyes. And again, like that's why movies like Wall-E got away with so much with so little, is the fact that it realized the characters didn't need to talk as long as what they're feeling is being expressed through their eye movements. That's why Wall-E says very little for the entire film. He didn't need to say all that much because you can tell everything he was feeling, everything he was thinking, just on how his expressions were conveyed. In this one, it's entirely relying on the dialogue, and most of it's just ripped from the original movie. So it goes to the category. It's like, okay, I'm hearing the emotion, but I'm not seeing the emotion. So just a massive disconnect, and you just don't care. You don't care about any of it. It's just a massive bore, and it shouldn't be. And that's the thing, like these live action remakes, like if you just take the nostalgia goggles off for like 5 minutes, you realize that when you're watching it, it's pretty fucking shitty. And again, like outside of the people I've mentioned, like the voice acting is surprisingly not awful, just devoid of connection. Even Mufasa, oh god, I'm blanking on his name. Why am I blanking on Mufasa's? James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones kind of feels like he's phoning it in, even though he's just playing the exact same part he was playing before. And that's I think that was the most shocking thing to me, because I was like, okay, I get their excuse. What's your excuse? You've done this before. And yet he just kind of sounds like he just doesn't really want to be there. Danny Glover, God bless him, he tries. He just cannot make this work. Because even when they actually get to adult Simba, who's not in that movie very much, and to be fair, I don't really think he's in the original version all that much either, but there's just so much more connection with that one, because he actually had like expression and personality and emotion. He was able to emote, because there's claustrophobic scenes when they're actually like crawling through shit, or when there's actually close-up, there's actual fucking emotion there. And that goes back to Rafiki, which I'll get to fucking Rafiki. But yeah, he just cannot get past the stilted expression that his character has at all times. It's really distracting, and you can't get past it. I don't care how good the dialogue is. I don't care how much you love the original Lion King. I don't care how much nostalgia you have. You cannot ignore the fact that the hyper-realism takes out all the emotion. And the emotion is what makes a movie. If you don't feel anything, you're not going to give a shit about it. And if you're not going to give a shit about it, I don't care how well it's made. It's not going to be good. Why is that such a hard concept for these live-action remakes to understand? Because that's a problem that keeps fucking happening. It happened with The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. If there's no real emotion there's no reason to care. Now granted, not all the live-action remakes have issues with emoting. Most of them do, surprisingly. Not all of them. I thought Pete's Dragon was okay. Even Alice in Wonderland 1 and 2 had more more emoting than this movie is, and like, goddamn, those pieces of shit. I mean, it's like I need to go through the story. It's the Lion King. You know the Lion King, and that's one of those cases. Like, there's no reason to go see this outside of nostalgia. You're just like, I'd rather just. I'm probably gonna do what I did with every one of those remakes I've seen so far. I'm just gonna go home and watch the original, because what's the fucking point of watching this when the new one, like the original one, is still out there and very easy to find? But I guess you gotta make that money, and I guess Disney wants to hold on to the copyrights for another like 50 years. Or whatever the real ulterior motive for making these goddamn things is. It's probably just an easy cash cow. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what it feels like. It feels like a easy, cheap, well, okay, not cheap, an easy cash cow made to bank on the trend of nostalgia that's popular right now. And that's really all this movie is here to do. It's just there to make a few bucks, and it's gonna make it, and which means we're getting more shot-for-shot remakes. And I'm not gonna say like there's no point for this movie to exist, because I've been realizing lately it's kind of a dumb argument, because by that definition, no movie really has to exist. But it doesn't do anything to set itself apart from the original in any meaningful way. Again, outside the hyperrealism, which only really matters if you kind of know the tech stuff behind it. But beyond that, there's really just not a lot of reason to care. And I feel like I'm just repeating a lot of what other people have said. And there's a few changes to the source material here. None of it's particularly memorable or worthwhile. I think one of the biggest changes they have is the Hyena Pack now has like a pack leader who is mostly there to give someone to fight at the end of the end of the film. And here's another thing, guys. Can we stop giving Beyonce film roles, because she's not a good actor? Can we just acknowledge that? Can we just admit it so we can fucking stop with this? Because this is like the third anime movie I've seen her in, and every single time it's always the same fucking thing, where I guess it's maybe just a clause in her contract where I feel like her ego gets in the way. Because every time I see her in an anime movie, she's always playing some character. At some point, everyone rallies to her, or goes like, "Oh my god, is that Beyonce's character?" It's not as bad as Oprah, but it's up there. Because especially in this movie, she has a point where, and it's like, first, she's not a good voice actor. I don't know why she's only getting these roles on name recognition alone, and just so they can cram in a really bad Beyonce song that in no way meshes with Lion King in any way, shape, or form into this movie. They do that. There's a part where just out of nowhere a Beyonce song starts playing, and I'm just like, ugh, this does not even remotely sound anything like anything that would come out of Lion King. It's just really distracting. Yeah, but she can't act, and there's just a scene towards the end where she's like trying to rah-rah for Simba to beat Scar, and she goes like, "Lions, prepare to attack!" God. There's just something so weird about just announcing your species to rally everyone behind. I guess it's not uncommon, because we do like, "Men, prepare for glory," but I'm just like, "Human beings, gather around!" I sound like I'm like the leader of a weird hippie commune. Anyway, I'm rambling again. This is why I always need a double. Oh, there is one part where I do think the hyperrealism actually plays to its benefit. It's the very beginning of the movie where they have the Circle of Life song. That sequence looks amazing. That is like, you can tell, like, if this existed as a 3-minute test footage, footage reel, that would just to demonstrate the power of this new technology they have, it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. It would have worked great, because again, all that scene is for Circle of Life is realistic ambiance. It was that way in the anime movie, and it's that way in this one too. It's all ambiance and environment and world building, and just showing off this beautiful, lush jungle world with no dialogue and no real need for expression until you get to Pride Rock. And it's just them establishing this world. And in both movies, those scenes look really, really goddamn good. The problem is, in this movie, in this iteration, is when expression is actually needed, and that's when it immediately falls apart. And especially because it keeps insisting on doing close-up shots of these characters as if we're supposed to feel something, simply for the fact that they're in frame. And it just doesn't work, because they're not emoting, they're not doing anything, they're not even really moving all that much. So again, there's just no connection. I'm just repeating what I said earlier. And no more is this the case than with Rafiki, who has a significantly downplayed role in this movie, because in the original, again, it's just bizarre changes I don't get. In the original one, Rafiki's very expressive. He's very flamboyant. He's very vibrant, and he even like when he's talking with the wind, and he's making all these murals and stuff on his tree, like fortune telling kind of thing. it's played up in that, like, it's in the original movie, it's all very, like, it's energetic. It's got movement to it. It's got expression. Rafiki is a very expressive character, and it shows in every frame he's in. In this one, he's just a baboon that occasionally gets a little sign and goes to his tree limb and goes, ah, 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 ah. This happens like 3 times. And then he has like some dialogue. He doesn't even really talk until he has the moral of the story scene with him towards the end of the second act. But beyond that, he really doesn't say or do a whole lot. And then at the very end, when he's fighting off the hyenas, the movie's kind of playing it up like this has kind of been like his arc the whole time. When in the original one, it's made for laughs, and it's a weird change that doesn't really add anything, and in fact just make things more jarring. Is there anything else I want to bitch about? No, I think 5 years from now, we're going to completely forget this movie existed. And we're just going to be looking forward to the days where Disney can make their animal documentaries without ever having to go outside. Because, like, honestly, that feels like this technology is best suited for. If they really want to double down on the Avatar stuff, this is the kind of tech that'd be great for it. But just for, like, a Lion King remake, there is absolutely no justification for this. And there's nothing that makes it stand out on its own. Now, I've heard of some people online start circulating this picture of like mixing the hyper-realistic with the classic design from the cartoons, more expressive eyes, and they kind of say like, look how good these pictures look, where you put like the animated face on the realistic background, and that would have made the movie so much better. And here's the thing, I don't think it would have, because I don't think it would have, because, again, it's one of those cases, you either go full cartoon or you go full realistic, but I don't really know if you can do if you can go, like, you can meet in between. I don't think it would work. It would just be jarring for an entirely different reason. Maybe more expressive and would solve some of the movie's problems, but it would definitely present an uncanny valley element that would just be too distracting. So it's a case where it's like, movies like this are just never meant to be hyper-realized, and they shouldn't be. They should be left well enough alone. And this movie is a pretty clear case of that. In fact, I really wish these Disney remakes would stop, but I know they're not going to, so I know we gotta sit through another bunch of these, which kind of leads me into trailers, so I'm gonna go over that. And I also should note, I already knew this movie was gonna be a bad time, because the first thing that happened the moment I sat down, when I'm walking into my seat and it's an empty row, and this woman starts walking down my way with a baby, and I'm thinking, oh no, because this baby looks like less than 1 year old, and I'm like, why would you bring a baby who's at most 1 year old to a IMAX movie theater, the second loudest movie theater they fucking have? So she walks my way and then immediately sits down right next to me. Again, I emphasize, it's an almost entirely empty row. Now, I understand there's reserved seating, but at the same time, even when you're reserving your seating, that makes it worse, because that means you had to choose to sit next to somebody with your less than 1 year old baby, who made it very clear from the very beginning he was not gonna stay quiet, because why would he? He's not even 1, and it's a 2-hour fucking movie. It's really fucking loud because it's an IMAX screening. Why would you bring your baby to that? Pointing away that soapbox. Anyway. And so at that point, I think I faked a phone call just because I didn't want to be rude. Although there was like no way I was gonna know that without being rude, but at the same time I was like, I am not sitting next to a baby who's gonna scream and cry for 2 fucking hours. I'm just not doing it. So I took a phone call and I left, and I waited till everyone took their seat, and I came back and like took one of the seats no one's gonna give a shit about. But that was just like, oh, this is gonna be a bad time, and it was, and I was miserable, and I was so tired. I was like, God damn it, end my suffering. Why do you one of these goddamn remakes me 2 fucking hours long? The original ones are an hour and a half. You don't need to pad it out. It's fine. Ah! I'm okay. Trailers. few of these I've gotten before, so I'm not gonna go for too long. Downton Abbey was the first one I've gotten before, which is a show I never watched, and I don't think it really be up my alley. Abby, alley, they kind of rhyme that. I don't know where my brain's at right now. Then Playing with Fire. Oh! This is like the Pacifier, but with John Cena as a fireman. Yeah, that looks god-awful. It looks like it belongs on Nickelodeon channel. Then you got Cats. You know what? Cats is one of those movies I'm just like, you know what? Fucking brain it. Let's do it. Cats, whatever. It's gonna be a train wreck. I hope it's super weird, and I hope it makes a lot of money. Because at this point, you're like, you know what, guys? I've seen enough mundane, straightforward shit for a while. Let's get weird. Let's just get fucking weird. Cat people. Yeah, it's gonna open up a lot of people's fetishes. Let's fucking do it. Let's just go nuts. Cat... Ian McKellen cat and Idris Elba cat. Sure. Whatever. Rebel Wilson cat. Whatever. I'll live with it. Okay. Whatever. Let's see where this fucking batshit crazy thing goes. And then I got Ad Astra, which is the Brad Pitt movie, which like looks fine. And Jumanji 2. I remember liking the first Jumanji, okay, or like Jumanji 3, I guess. I really like the last Jumanji pretty okay. I think like Jack Black and Dwayne Johnson were the best parts of it. And I think my complaint last time was that Kevin Hart really didn't do anything except be Kevin Hart. And this one, he looks like he's actually trying to be a character. So that kind of intrigued me a bit more. Kind of see what we can actually do, you know, when he's trying to be an actor. So again, we'll just see where that goes. I think it's... I mean, like I said, I like the last one fine. So this one looks kind of more the same. So hopefully it'll be fine. Then we get Mulan, which is the next goddamn remake I have to go see. Now, I will give Mulan credit in that, at the very least, it looks like they're doing something different with it. They're doing something very different from the original, which means, at the very least, whether it's good or bad, at least it tried. And I can respect that. Because the point of a remake isn't that you do shot for shot, it's that you try something different with it. You're taking a different direction. Like, ideally, is what you're supposed to do with these, instead of just making a cynical cash cow, which all these are kind of are, but I'm hoping this one at least sets itself apart from the pack, by just trying something different with a character. And like, okay, there's room for that. Because you don't really need Mushu in fucking Mulan. You just don't. Because that character has not aged as well as you thought it has. And then we got Maleficent 2, which I guess is a sequel to a remake, which, well, it did something different. Again, I'll give it that. I don't remember thinking that fondly of it, but I don't know. Angelina Jolie plays a fun bad guy. Hopefully it'll be okay. I don't know. We'll see. So that was the last trailer I got. I'm tired. It's late. It's been a long day. I want to go home, so I'm gonna go home. Just so you guys know, the big latest editorial, we just got it done today. I'm gonna upload it tonight. It's gonna be on the Patreon by tomorrow. If you have not joined the Patreon yet, please consider doing so, because we're gonna release it a week in advance, only on the Patreon, and then we're gonna release it publicly the next week. So please consider going on there, donating $5 a month, support us, help us out, help us make more of these things, help us keep doing this, because I work 3 jobs, it's hard, this shit is expensive. So if you guys can help us out in any way, shape, or form, even if it's just $1, we'd really appreciate it. Please consider doing that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow, because me and Muha are going to talk about The Art of Self-Defense, a movie I actually really liked. So much more looking forward to talking about that one. That's all I got. See you guys later.